Good evening, everybody from Universal Studios. We are back at Halloween Horror Nights, and we know that the process has gotten very confusing over the past few years, so we figured let's go ahead and simplify everything for you. I get questions all the time in my comments about, can we do this? What's the cost of this? How early can we do these things? So we thought, again, consolidation, one video, here you go. This is a simplified version of HHN for you that should give you all the information that you could possibly need. As we head into the park, I'll go ahead and let you guys know the dates that it runs, and it does run every single Wednesday through Sunday until November 4th. It did start on September 1st, but at this point we are now kind of the first or second week into September. However, again, until November 4th, Wednesday to Sunday, you can go ahead and attend Halloween Horror Nights. Also, the park is open from 6:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. We'll go ahead and give you a little asterisk there and explain a little bit more that it could technically be a little bit earlier than that. Now, in order to attend Halloween Horror Nights, you obviously need to have a ticket to the event. This is a separate ticket event, which means that you need to purchase this outside of your normal daytime ticket. So there are two different options. The first being a single day ticket, and that single day ticket will start at $79.99, depending on what time of the season you go. It will get a little bit more expensive. I do also want to note that this year they are including 6 months of Peacock at no additional cost, whether you buy a single day ticket or a multi-night ticket. Now, that single night ticket will give you access to the park and everything inside of those walls of Universal Studios as soon as you enter. So all 10 houses, all 5 scare zones, the show there, etc. So everything available at this event is available whether you have a multi-night ticket or, again, a single day ticket. Now, on top of that, you do have the multi-night tickets. This gets a little confusing, so just bear with me for just a second here. First up is the Rush of Fear, and that is going to give you the first 18 nights of the event. That means that every single night, you will be able to attend the event Wednesday to Sunday for the first 18 nights. And there are no exclusions or blockout dates to that. Now, coming up to the second option here, that would be the Frequent Fear Pass. This is a pretty common option, and this is going to give you every Sunday to Thursday through the entire event. The event doesn't run on Monday and Tuesday. Either way, you do get Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for every single event that it is held. So a nice option if maybe you don't want to go on Fridays and Saturdays, which tend to be the more crowded days anyway. Now, next up would be the Frequent Fear Plus. That is going to give you every Sunday to Friday. So basically, you're just not getting Saturdays. Once again, probably the most busy day of the year, but also a very accessible day to most people. So this is going to be, again, all year long. As long as the event is going on, you have access between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. So no Saturdays, but every other day is available. And then finally, obviously, would be the Ultimate Frequent Fear, and that is every single night of the event you have available at your fingertips, which means no matter what day you want to go to Halloween Horror Nights, you just show up, scan your badge, and sign right in. Very, very convenient, but again, this is the most expensive option for sure. Now, this next bit is probably the most confusing for people, and I kind of understand why, but this is the add-ons of the tickets. So let's start with Express. I know it's not the cheapest option, but I just want to start there because the most confusing one we'll save for last. So Express is basically that. If you know what Express is at Universal Studios normally, it kind of operates the same way. However, this is used for not only the houses, but also the rides that are open during the event. So this is going to start at $119.99. And a lot of times Universal will tell you that it will cut the time in half. I found it to actually be a little less than that. So it's a pretty nice little perk there. It is pretty expensive, I'll say that right away, but I found it to be pretty worth it. And I will go ahead and let you know that we did a video on that, and it's definitely worth checking out. However, if you are staying at one of the higher end hotels and you get Express included, you need to understand this does not include that Express that you get with those hotels. Those hotels give you Express for a daytime ticket. This is a separately ticketed event, which means you need to buy a separate ticketed Express. Something to keep in mind, you can add Express onto all of your ticketed options. So a single day ticket, go ahead and buy a one-time Express pass. But if you did decide to purchase one of those multi-night tickets, you can actually go ahead and put Express on every single night that you attend. It's a one-time fee. It is pretty expensive. Again, I want to let you know that probably double, triple, maybe even 4 times the price of your ticket there. But I have found it to be worth it so far. And again, we do have a video on that. Now, the next thing is the RIP tour. And this has to be probably one of the most affordable VIP experiences that you can get in any theme park for these events. And that's gonna start at $329.99. And I know that seems pretty expensive, but this basically gives you front access to the houses. You get to go right in. You're gonna have a tour guide giving you every little detail about this experience. Something to keep in mind with the RIP tour though, is you do have to buy a ticket. It is not included in that RIP tour price. So if you have a multi-night ticket and you have an RIP tour on one of those available days, as long as you are not blocked out, you have no issues. You'll go right in, no problem. If you're doing a single day ticket with the RIP tour, you need to make sure that they line up. So if you're purchasing that RIP tour for a Saturday, you need to make sure that your single day ticket is for that exact Saturday that you plan on going. So again, just to reiterate, the RIP tour does not include your single day ticket. You do need to make sure that you have an HHN ticket for that day. Let's get into the most confusing part, and that's gonna be the Scream Early ticket. Scream Early is $40 no matter what. That is the price, no matter if you're going at the start of the season, end of the season, doesn't matter. $40, stay in Scream/Scream Early. This gives you access to the park at 3 p.m. and it allows you to stay inside of these holding areas inside of the park, kind of considered their stay and Scream areas. As an annual pass holder, you do not need to buy stay in Scream/Scream Early. And the reason why is you have access to the park. And it's the same thing if you have a daytime ticket to Universal Studios. If you have a park ticket for Universal Studios, you do not need to buy the Scream Early entry. And that's because it's basically kind of adding on to your ticket this little extra time that you get to go inside of the park and hang out. If you have a daytime ticket to Universal Studios, you do not need to buy a Scream Early ticket. It is already basically included in your daytime ticket. Otherwise, you'll go ahead, pay that $40, and you'll have access to the park at 3 p.m. and you can go ride rides, hang out, do whatever you want to do, and then you'll go ahead and find a stay and Scream area to start to actually wait in line for a house. And you can actually get a few houses done before the park even opens for the night. Now, I know it's a little confusing, but hopefully that kind of got you there and you can understand. If you do have questions about it, feel free to ask in the comments below. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about parking really quick. So when it does come to parking, it is still $30 to park. And even if you have an annual pass that gives you the valet option, it is not included for Halloween Horror Nights. So you will still have to pay for valet. However, if your annual pass has the free parking, you will get free parking, which also includes Prime if your annual pass includes Prime parking. So if you have a regular ticket for HHN and no annual pass, you will still have to pay. So again, that's $30 for regular parking, and it can be anywhere from $50 to $60 for Prime, which I do highly recommend Prime. It's a lot less busy and you get a little bit closer parking for you. Now, another thing that you can do here at Halloween Horror Nights, which actually doesn't run during the event, but actually during the daytime, is going to be the Behind the Screams tour. And what this is gonna let you do, it's gonna let you go inside of the houses, check out everything that's inside of there, all of these small details that you might miss during your actual run through of the houses. So there are two options. First will be the 3-house option, which starts at $119.99, and that will include 3 houses of The Last of Us, The Darkest Deal, and Dr. Oddfellow. So again, you're going to do like a little behind the scenes tour, the lights are gonna be on, and you'll be able to see everything inside of those houses. It's actually a very cool looking experience. I myself haven't done it, but I've heard amazing things about it. So I would definitely check that out. Also, if you're a little bit of a scaredy cat, it might kind of help you ease some of those nerves. Now, on top of that, there is a 6-house option, which will be 6 different houses, and that's going to start at $169.99. Now, those 6 houses are going to include Universal Monsters Unmasked, Chucky, Stranger Things 4, Yeti, Dueling Dragons, and Blood Moon Dark Offerings. So if you want to see 9 houses, you're going to have to buy 2 Behind the Screams tours, and that will give you 9 houses. There is no Exorcist Behind the Screams tour this year. I've heard some rumblings it's because the movie's not out yet, so maybe that's why. I don't really know. Either way, if you want 9 houses, you have to do 2 separate tours. Otherwise, you either choose the 3-house tour or the 6-house tour. Now, any of these add-ons that I talk about, any of these features, anything like that, buy them early. And the reason is, anything that I am talking about can sell out, and many of them have sold out. Express sells out oftentimes on Fridays and Saturdays because they are so busy. Behind the Screams tour, I think a lot of those dates have already sold out, especially for I think the 6 house tours. And then on top of that, things like the RIP tour, as I already mentioned, all of October is already sold out. They are very popular events, and from the looks of it, I think the RIP tour is very much worth the money. Now, one of my favorite add-ons is that Express Pass. We did add it on to our Ultimate Fear, so we get Express all season long. And I'm gonna show you why it's so good, but if you're interested in wondering whether or not Express is for you, you could check out my video that I will go ahead and link in the corner there, where we just tested Express on all 10 houses here. And I'll just tell you, we got them all done in about 4 hours, which is incredible. You can see a very, very long line for The Last of Us. All of those are switchbacks in there, by the way. Very long lines for this house. And then there's even more when you get out this way. So I know it says it was a posted 65, but with all of the extra switchbacks up there, this is probably longer than a 65-minute wait, unfortunately. So we'll go ahead and start this, and we'll show you how long we wait in line for Express instead of standby, just to kind of show you guys a little bit of how good some of these add-ons are. All right, we are all finished up, by the way. Take a look at this. 10 minutes and 52 seconds in that posted 65. And like I said, I actually think that was going to be much longer than 65. That was a very long line, so not a bad gig. So one of the better add-ons that you can pick up would be that Express Pass. It is going to be a very, very busy season, by the way, which is why you need to make sure that if you are purchasing anything, whether it's tickets, add-ons, extras, your hotels, anything like that, you need to do it ahead of time because, like I said, such a busy season. This is only coming up to the end. This is now officially 1 week of HHN being open, and it is this busy already. I don't even want to know what October looks like. Going to be a crazy season, so make sure anything that you purchase this year, you do it nice and early. Another very common question people wonder is Halloween Horror Nights scary? And I think it's very subjective. I would say it is not as scary as like normal haunted houses. I believe Universal really wants to give you an experience. They want to show you what it looks like when you go through these stories, and they tell you a story inside of all of these haunted houses. And I'll let you know, most of the houses are 5 minutes and under for the walkthrough. So you're not sitting in this 20, 30, 40 minute long house just being terrorized the entire time. And throughout the park, you have scare zones, which is basically pockets of things that will ultimately be a little bit more scary. But then you kind of have areas like we are right now, where it's just kind of relaxation, and you can kind of just hang out and have a good time. So whether or not you think it's scary, again, is very subjective. And for me, I'm not a huge horror person in general. I don't love being scared, but I really enjoy Halloween Horror Nights, if that gives you any sort of idea. So maybe I'll show you a few things, and maybe you can determine whether or not you think it's a little scary. Well, we just waited 8 minutes on a posted 60. So again, Express doing really well for us. But let's talk about the rides really quick. Many of you guys are interested to know, can you ride rides here at Halloween Horror Nights during the event? Now, when it does come to rides, there are a select few rides that are open, and they do close at different times. Rip Ride Rocket, which is a very common one, is open here, and the Mummy, which is another one that is very, very common. Those are the two big roller coasters that I think people like to ride during the event, as well as Transformers is open, and Gringotts is open as well. And then if you head to the other side of the park, Men in Black is also available. They do close at different times. I think the earliest close, I think, is Gringotts at midnight. If you're doing rides at any time before midnight, you should be good. For any of them, I believe that Rip Ride closes the park down until 2 a.m. and maybe Mummy, but they are open during the event. So if you guys are interested in riding some rides, there you go. There are some opportunities to get on a few things, and they tend to have very short lines. When it comes to the food booths, you can actually only buy the specialty items during the event. So if you are a daytime guest, you will not have access to things like Surfer Boy Pizza or anything over there with The Last of Us or any of these specialty items that are available during the event. So do keep that in mind, that if you're looking to purchase some of these, you cannot buy them during the day, and you will have to wait in some of these longer lines. Keep that in mind, because these lines can get quite long. I'm not going to lie to you, they have been a lot longer than I've seen them in years past. Now, there are a few small things you can get during the day, and they would be over at the Tribute store, and they are behind like the little snack counter there. So there's a lot more sweet treats there, not really savory items and drinks that you're gonna find around the park. But if you're looking for a nice sweet treat, the Tribute store does offer daytime guests a few specialty items for the Halloween season. And I guess it's also worth pointing out that the Minion Cafe is open during the event. As you can see, it's a nice place to lounge outside if you'd like, or you can head inside, get some AC, and get some food from a very delicious food option here. One other option here would be the specialty popsicles over here at the Freeze Ray Pops booth, and this actually just opened up recently as well, and they are keeping this open through the event. So now the Minion Cafe and Freeze Ray Pops are not specific to the event. You can get all of the food and items here during the day, or again during the Halloween Horror Nights special ticketed event. And it's very nice because when it does get hot out here, getting one of these nice cold popsicles will hit the spot and keep you cool. Let's go ahead and talk merch now. The merchandise is available all day to daytime guests as well as Halloween Horror Nights guests. So you can go ahead and purchase anything that you want for the event beforehand, so that way maybe you have a nice outfit for your night. Also, keep in mind that if you have an annual pass, you will get annual pass discount on everything inside of the park, minus alcohol. So do keep that in mind. It'll save you a few bucks, and it does go a long way when you start buying multiple items, food things, etc. Again, no alcohol though, per usual for your annual pass holder discounts. Now, the last two things I do want to mention really quick for you would be, first of all, I keep telling people to be hydrated and make sure that you bring electrolytes here, but we do know that security after 5 p.m. will actually not allow you to come in with some drinks sometimes. Sometimes they're okay with it, sometimes they're not. I don't really know what their stipulations are, so just assume you're not getting in with things like Gatorades and things like that, especially open bottles. What we like to do is we like to bring basically reusable cups and then just put ice in there so that way we can fill up water inside of the park. And then the last thing would be over at the show this year for Nightmare Fuel. It is the only show available, and it is a very long line most of the time, so you'll want to get there at least 30 minutes prior, maybe even up to an hour if you want to guarantee that you'll get a spot, because they will actually cut off the line and not allow you to go in, so you're kind of just out of luck at that point and you'll have to wait for another show. So I know that the night is just hectic and there's a lot going on and scheduling things becomes pretty difficult. If you want to guarantee yourself a spot in that show, you might want to be waiting 30 minutes early or potentially even longer depending on when you're actually going. Well, hopefully that was some good information for you guys today, and I try to contain everything inside of this video and just really simplify the process from planning to understanding kind of what's available. I really hope that this was helpful, and you might need to rewatch this video or skip through and kind of go to the parts that maybe pertain most to you. Something I really do want to reiterate, by the way, is getting things purchased early, setting things up in advance. Things are selling out like crazy this year. As I mentioned, October is fully sold out for the RIP tour. Express is going away like every single night. I feel like it's selling out. So make sure that if you want to put something on like your add-ons, your tickets, anything like that, do it ahead of time. I promise you, it's better to do it early than to miss out in the future. Now, if you did enjoy today's video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. We are getting out of here. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll see you in the fog. Take care.